What's up, everyone, and welcome to our Grand Theft Auto Trilogy review, and Vision Gaming review, that is. And we just want to give our impressions and talk about each game individually, and then we'll go over and give our score for the bundle as a whole. So we're going to have Joe kind of steer the ship here for ours.
Yeah, so let's start with we'll go in release order here. We'll start with Grand Theft Auto 3 and some Claude action. And, it's not a new game. It's a game that's been around since, 2001, I believe? And
Sounds right.
so the re-release just came out today. We picked it up. We got a little bit of playtime into it. I put the most time personally into GTA 3. And the game is pretty impressive visually. Character models look a little goofy from time to time. Sometimes they look clay animated, other times they have like a semi-realistic look to them, and it seems like it varies based on each cutscene. But the town as a whole looks beautiful. I know they redid the entire lighting system. The lights all look really good. Vehicles look amazing. The Liberty City just feels a lot more alive. Any input on visuals from you guys?
Yeah, I think the lighting alone adds so much life to the games, and then the way that they did the graphics. We were talking about it off camera, but it's like they have redone the graphics in a way that it's like your memory remembers it. Like your brain remembers the game the way it looks now, even though it looked way worse back in the day. Like it's just really cool. It's like watching a cartoon or like a animated a show while you're playing it.
So, for myself, I'm like in this in-between spot mainly. So one, I do think the game looks very good. The thing that throws me off mainly are the character models. I feel like they're the weakest. And at the same time, kind of like Bravo said, I don't know if it's like a good or a bad thing. I'm like torn because sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of happy that they kept it the same because it is what I remember. It's just like a little bit better. But then I look at something. I don't know if you guys have played the Mafia game, like the remake of Mafia 1, and you kind of compare and contrast like from Mafia 1 from the PS2 to that remake that came out, and then you take this game, and I mean they probably came out roughly the same time. Both are PS2 generation games, right? And you look at it, and it's like, I mean, Mafia looks very, very good in this game. I mean, you could kind of tell, it's a remake of a PS2 game with, fancy coat of paint. But like I said, it's not a negative thing, but it's just something I'm like, I don't know. I wonder if I would like it better if it was done how Mafia did it, where it looked really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would like it more if they, re-upscaled everything, made it all 4K, which the game is playable in 4K. I don't have a 4K monitor hooked up to do it. But you know what I mean, like modern graphics. But I like the appeal of the old graphics. But another new feature they added, as well as the lighting, is it's not all lock-on aiming anymore. You do have like a free aim, which is a good quality of life change in my opinion because that lock-on aim used to drive me nuts.
Oh yeah. I actually did go back. So probably 3 months ago or so, I went back and I was like, I'm gonna play Grand Theft Auto 3 just for fun, and I was like, oh, these controls. I didn't realize they were that bad.
Yeah, the controls were definitely brutal. I went back and whenever they announced the trilogy, picked up San Andreas and was trying to play through it, and I was just like, oh my god, this is brutal. I can't do it. I'm just gonna wait. But yeah, everything basically is the same for the game. In GTA 3, there have been some complaints about there's just part of the maps that don't have collision at all. So your car will just fall through. But overall, like the game is a good game. I'm probably about a dozen to 20 missions in at the moment, and I've been having a really good time. The game feels great. It has all of the goofy stuff that it always used to, where you could shoot someone's head off and have some blood squirt out. But good game, all in all. GTA 3 might be my favorite of the trilogy, but Vice City would be the other one that would compete. I'd never played San Andreas before, so this would be my first time with that one. But GTA 3 it's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's the whole point of Grand Theft Auto. I know there are, you know, actual missions and story and stuff. I always have been a person where it's like, okay, let me put the cheat codes in once I can get, you know, to roam around a little bit, and let's just see what I can, you know, mess up around here. You know, how much mayhem can I cause to this little city? Or I don't know, or just like you venture around and you're like, ooh, this is a new car I haven't seen before, and then just, you know, you grab that, see how fast it is. You know, it's always been like that sandbox open world thing.
Yeah.
When I first played Grand Theft Auto games, the only reason I did the story was to get to the next areas, you know, and then eventually I finished. But yeah, it's like, all right, I finally want to go into the next region without getting 5 stars, you know.
Yeah, GTA 3 definitely is one that sticks in my mind, especially that you have to go through all the bells and whistles to get to the next area, whereas something like GTA Vice City, you could always just cheat your way over, and the cheats, they're still the same, and that is the most beautiful part to me.
Yes,
But
leave them in, please. Imagine if they took them out of like the remaster, like what the game would be like.
oh my, or if they just like changed them, it would make it so much worse.
They did take some of the cheat codes out for quote-unquote balance issues, but I don't know which ones they took out. So
Yeah, I didn't notice any were taken out. Like, all the ones that I know were still a thing. So, at least they're ones I don't care about.
Yeah. Just
But,
give me my jetpack.
The one thing that bothered me the most about the Trilogy series was the fact that they announced... We played on PC, that we have recorded here, but they announced that there would be full controller support from release. No controller works on the PC version right now. You can't get a controller into, like, the Rockstar launcher to be able to work currently. I tried importing it, like, into Steam as a non-Steam product and launching it that way. Controllers just do not work in this game at the moment.
The only way I could see it probably working is you do something like that. So DS for Windows, I think, is something.
That would be the way that you probably have to get it done. But
I'll be honest, that whenever you play a game that doesn't have controller support, and you use something like that, it always just feels like you're better off just using the keyboard and mouse anyways.
Yeah.
'Cause it just doesn't work right.
the only thing I really care about, like, using the controller for is I can't drive to save my life on keyboard and mouse in this game. And I learned that today in a hard truth. When you're running away from the cops and, you know, you're driving a car as fast as you can and you go to make a turn and it's just like you have cinder blocks on your feet.
I can't even imagine playing this game honestly in a keyboard and mouse compared to controller, just because like it's so ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, that's basically where I am too. I like got into them and I'm like, this doesn't feel right, but because I have the experience with the 3 and Vice City, and the mouse and keyboard don't do it for me. The shooting is nice because it's like that free aim shooting now, but
Yeah, it's
it
kind
was
of a
pretty
strange
rough.
one to let slip by. I hope they
Especially when they
fix it soon.
announced it. Like, they said it has full keyboard support at release, or excuse me, controller support, and then it don't.
And then you don't.
It don't.
But so Vice City would be the next game up, and good lord, I think this game has the best aesthetics of the trilogy. Weather and all of the lights, and you know, like that 80s vibe, and
the neon Vice.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks.
And it,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even on the PS2, I honestly felt that Vice City
Oh, it was incredible.
The best. Yeah, it just because it still captured the vibe. So now you just add even a prettier coat of paint on it, and it looks great. You know, especially with the weather effects and all of the neon signs with rain. It like reflecting off of the rain and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the old games, whenever you were driving, didn't rain used to like hit the screen?
Oh,
I think it did.
Yeah,
I
so that
believe
doesn't
so.
happen in this one. Which
Yeah, they
I
probably were
remember
like,
it doing it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
they probably
my
were like,
memory's
you know
not
what,
that
that's
good.
not worth it.
100%
They
pure
played
grade A Colombian.
Yeah, they
my
also
friend.
released
Let me
a
see
track
it.
list. A lot of songs have been removed. For example, Michael Jackson's "Billie Jean" is no longer available. I believe it was San Andreas had some Tupac songs on it. They're no longer available. So there has been a hit to what radio stations and songs are available, and that's always a downer. But for the
We
most part, they
know.
have most songs.
Do we know if they replace? So, like, say if they took out Michael Jackson, Billie
I
Jean,
do not
right?
believe they replaced.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if
To
maybe
replace it
or
with
when some
a
they replaced it
Jackson
with like
mic or
a
something.
yeah they replaced it with some guy who
Did a
sounds like Michael
cover.
Jackson.
They just
Jilly
do a
Bean.
cover of it. But yeah, Vice City, I mean, I love just driving around the town and seeing
Oh,
all
yeah.
the neon lights. And even like during the day, it just has that, it feels like a beach game and it feels amazing. It, reminds me of Scarface, obviously, as it's based off of it.
Yeah,
But
it's based off Scarface. It's in Miami. Miami's a fun, crazy city. Not to like
Yeah.
like obviously back in the day you had Grand Theft Auto 3. It felt like they attempted to do a New York City style setting, but they were limited with their I think their knowledge and just size capacity, right? And then they were able to kind of hone it in a little bit better with Miami. That, and also maybe it's just Miami worked better with a smaller scale, made more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, Miami or Vice City, the map is bigger than GTA 3, but still almost a third of the size of San Andreas, which
Yeah.
to me, although it's a third of the size, it feels the most full of the trilogy.
That's kind of a skew because San Andreas has got like a lot of
Yeah.
area,
But cheats still work. This game brings back a ton of nostalgia to me, and I can't wait to finish GTA 3 just so I could spend countless hours running around just being a kid in this game again.
Dude, the
Yeah, gosh.
explosions in these games look so good now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's some weird glitches that happen, but overall the game is incredible. I didn't run into anything really game breaking in Vice City as I did in GTA 3, where I just fell through the map because it didn't have collision or anything like that. But I also didn't get nearly as far into Vice City.
Gotcha. Yeah. One of my favorite things in Vice City is I would drive around mainly with the bikes and stuff, so like motorcycles, and I would try to find the little side ramps and whatnot and see how far, if I could jump over buildings or whatnot. Just stupid things. That was always some of my favorite things to do. Don't really know why.
The mansion that's like on the island that you do the mission and end up taking over. My favorite was getting like 5-6 stars and just running around that place playing Scarface.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just like you in your as a kid, you have like a memory, and you're like, okay, this is your mindset's like, I'm gonna go to this garage, and I'm holding it down here because the top is covered. I don't have the helicopters taking me out, and then I just block off maybe the entrance to the one area, and I could like snipe people from here.
Yeah, kid me, my answer was just spawn a tank and let's go.
I think I was too stupid to know how to spawn a tank.
Not
No
surprised,
surprise, right?
But let's talk about San Andreas. Like I said, this game I've never played before this trilogy release. I'm going in as spoiler free as I can, but I do know a bit about the game in terms of like you can get fat and you could get real buff and all that fun stuff. That's about it.
That's the depth. You can
That's
get
the game.
big,
That's
or you
everyone
can get
cares
big.
about.
What you don't know is the game is about just eating as many cheeseburgers as possible and working out. It's like
Yeah.
real life me.
But
So-
I feel. Oh, go ahead.
I'm actually gonna probably skip the trilogy and go straight to San Andreas because my favorite part is the gang warfare, like territory control. So I just want to get in there and like relive that on my own. Once
Absolutely. So I think this is the worst looking game of the three. And I don't understand why. The character models just look so much worse in this than the other two. Like, what's the main character's name here?
Arl, I think.
Carl. CJ.
Yeah,
CJ.
yeah, it's Carl, but yeah, CJ.
So,
I do.
whenever you see his face, like, it looks like he doesn't have eyes. It's it's so weird looking, and some of the other characters in the family, I believe it's his brother, Big Smoke or whatever, but
Yeah.
he literally looks like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody, even the people listening or watching this video, we've all seen all the memes on the internet. But the environment still looks really good. It looks really clean, like when you get out into the trees and whatnot. It looks good.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just the character models are just maybe.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
I don't know. They just stick out.
I feel like
with the
that's where
sore thumb.
they missed it. They missed the mark, I think, with the character models, because the rest of the game definitely, like, for all three of them. All three of them, I think it's the environment, the effects, lighting, whatever. It all looks pretty good, and then the character models just, I don't know what happened. It just seems like, I don't know if that was like
They feel
an
more
actual
dated
choice.
than the rest
Yeah.
of it.
And
Like, did they want to do that? Were they like, you know what, this is what he looks like, so this is what people will remember. We don't need to really update it. We,
I don't know.
should leave it this way.
I think it's probably the environment working against them, right? So they kept
Yeah.
the same strategy with all three games, but with San Andreas, the graphics, lighting, environment, whatever that is, like they just make the characters themselves stick out worse.
Yep.
It's
I am kind of similar to Joe, where I put such little time into San Andreas. I don't know much. It always felt a little bit of, the game's definitely more in depth and everything, but the cool thing is how you have the, gang related aspect to the game, right? I really like that idea. I didn't even know that was a part of it until I started doing research for our podcast beforehand that we did on Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
which makes me feel sad because I didn't even know that was part of the game.
me either. I thought that was just a Saints Row thing before we did that episode. Which, it's good to learn that it wasn't just a Saints Row thing, as I think it's a feature that's really cool in gaming, and if done in the right way, could
It adds
really
so
take
much
a game to the next
depth to
level.
this game, like where it's like, I just thought it was like, all right, I thought they just kind of like copy pasta the three games just in different environments,
Yeah.
and then it's like, no, there's a lot more depth into San Andreas, and I know there's a lot of people that think San Andreas is still like the best GTA game to date.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So,
yeah, three and into Vice City, it was kind of a copy pasta as far as like graphics and stuff go, but the story, I think, greatly improved from one to the other. And not to, I don't want to say improved. They were both good, but I like Vice City better.
Yeah, I hear you.
well,
So we can do maybe our ratings, unless you guys got anything else to say.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, how about Bravo? What do you got for this? That's a package deal. rating
Package
for
deal,
Grand Theft Auto.
$60. I think this is a great buy if you're looking to get some nostalgia out of it. If you're looking to play this for the first time and you're already interested, I would go ahead and pick it up. It's $20 per game. You really can't go wrong with it. And hopefully they fix that controller support. I think as far as like the package deal, reliving it through the mind's eye, graphics update, I think it's a solid like 8 out of 10. It's the exact same games, better graphics, pretty cheap as far as like a bundle goes.
Nah,
There it
you ain't never been clean, Carl.
What you, Joe?
Well, what do we got here?
So, Bravo's being a little nicer than I am. With the amount of hype surrounding this game being the GTA Trilogy, with the no controller support after it being something that they assured everyone would be there for PC players, with them literally just forgetting to put collision on parts of the map in GTA 3, I'm giving this game, I'm going to be generous and give it a 7. I think it's definitely worth a buy for nostalgia's sake. If you're a new player, this is the only way you can play these now without buying a secondhand copy. And it's worth a play. The price point's good. It just needs a lot of work to really polish it up. as it feels unfinished, which big surprise in games nowadays. I'm
Yeah,
sure it'll be
okay.
fixed via patches, but
Yeah.
it,
6
It was
months
just
from now.
a
Wait,
little too much.
wait for 6 months. It'll be 10% off. You pick it up.
It's
it's
the
fine.
this is what Bravo and I were talking about this. I think off the recording and whatnot. I've always like wait a year, buy a game, then you're getting probably the best package of it, and it's going to be usually half off.
Yep.
well, Brad,
But
finish
what?
us off here.
Okay, yeah. So for I have a little bit of a different mentality, I think, than the guys here, and it's not because I think this is a bad game per se. But because I think, like we said, it looks good. Character models, yeah, could use a little work, but I think that's just personal preference. Or some people like it, some people don't. I think that they're definitely fine. It doesn't take away from the game. It's not like I'm completely taken away from it. My big thing is at $60 for it, and when I can go out, I could literally buy a PS2 and all three games probably for less than this. Probably $40 for a PS2 if you get like from somewhere, and then you could literally get. I bought these a while back on PS2 for like $2 a piece. The games are just everywhere. They're mass produced on PS2. While I think it's a really good deal in the sense of like, yeah, $20 a game, great deal, modern, a little bit more modern controls and stuff. I don't think it's a big enough thing. I think there's a lot more games out there in general that are new and you can pick up for $60, and then at some point this is going to come down in price, I'm sure. So I'd say like the price point I'm looking to see would be like $40. I don't know why that in my head seems like a little bit more tangible and a
No,
better
that's fair.
better deal. But I'm also thinking of it like, what are other remasters and stuff I've seen? Like the Diablo 2 one. I honestly I think the Diablo 2 one they also missed the mark. They had a bunch of hiccups and stuff too. Obviously, being a fanboy of that, I picked it up. But if I wasn't, I probably would say don't pick that up at $40 because of all the crap that it was in the beginning. Now it might be a little bit of a better deal because they kind of are still ironing kinks out. But I think it's the same thing for this. Give it 6 months. Maybe the price will go down to about $40. Especially maybe Christmas time, Black Friday. Well, Black Friday is right around the corner, but who knows? Maybe it'll come down in price sooner than later. And at $40, I think is like the sweet spot that I might be grabbing
Yeah.
it myself on PlayStation.
Yeah, I think Brad's probably hit the nail on the head as far as like, even if you're nostalgic. Like obviously I'm seeing through rose tinted goggles here, but Brad's is probably the most reasonable. But
And if I were to
what's
give it
your
a number,
value?
if I were to give it a number, I think it's like I think Joe is actually pretty spot on, like 7 out of 10. It's a solid game. It doesn't mean it's bad. I know a lot of people that are weird with like rating numbers. They think like anything below an 8, it's like unplayable and stuff. It's really strange. Like to me, it's like if a game's 5, that means it's average, right?
Yeah.
Like that's right dead center in the middle. So this is a good game. It just has some hiccups, and there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean that it's not worth buying. If you haven't played these games, because we're also looking at it as guys who are, in our 30s or later 20s, and we've played these games as a kid, grown-ups. The kids, if you've watched this, if you're like 16, 17, 18, you might not have ever experienced these games. Then I would say, it probably is worth that $60. But realistically, most people have probably played these games. Is it worth paying $60 for the same 3 games you played just with like a new code paint? I don't know. That's why I'm thinking like $40 seems, a reasonable deal, and that's at least what I'm looking for.
40 seems fair. I'd probably bump it up to an 8 if it was a $40 buy, but with it being
Yeah.
60.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so there's our review for the remastered trilogy of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Shameless plug, if you want to hear us go into an in-depth talk of GTA, you can hit up our podcast episode 12, where we talk about the whole GTA series, kind of like a background, how the series went, and then up till now, obviously before the remaster, because it wasn't available whenever we made the episode. But you can like and subscribe if you like what you see here. You can hit us up on Twitter at envision_org if you want to yell at us. And have a good day.